Hi everybody, I'd like to pick up where we left off last time. So in the last lesson we were talking about using a version of completing the square to rewrite quadratics from standard form into vertex form. So remember, this is standard form and we're going to use completing the square to get it into vertex form. And the reason that sometimes we like vertex form is in vertex form it's easy to identify what the vertex is. Okay, so in number 1, the first thing that we want to do when we're doing completing the square is we want to move the 14 over. Whatever that constant term is, the number without the x, we're going to move it over to the other side. So I have y minus 14, and I'm going to leave a little line. And I'm going to leave a line on the other side. Okay, so now I need to add something to both sides. And to figure out what I'm adding to both sides, I'm going to take half of the b value, half of that number in front of the x, and then I'm going to square it. So I'm going to take 4, I'm going to divide it by 2, that's the same as taking half of it, so I get 2, and then I'm going to square that. So 2 squared is 4. So I add that to both sides. On the left, I can add negative 14 and 4, so that's y minus 10. And on the right, I need to factor. I need to factor x squared plus 4x plus 4. So I'm looking for two numbers that add to 4 and multiply to 4. It's always going to be the same number 2 times. And in fact, it's always going to be this number. It's always going to be the half of that b value, half of that number in front of the x. So we got 2. So it's going to be x plus 2, x plus 2. Okay, so we can write that as x plus 2 squared. Now this is where we differ from when we learned about completing the square to solve for the roots. It's actually less steps when we're doing it, completing the square to find vertex form, because now I'm almost there. All I have to do is move the 10 back over and I'm done. Y equals x plus 2 squared plus 10. And that is in now vertex form. And what's nice about vertex form is, again, it's easy to see the vertex. So if I want to find the vertex here, it's kind of hidden in the vertex form. What I'm going to do is I look, and it tells me right here, I have the number here and the number here. So x plus 2, so the vertex is negative 2. It's always the opposite sign from inside the parentheses, and then 10. So the vertex is negative 2, 10. Let's take a look at number 2. So first thing I want to do is move the 11 over. Okay, and then let's think about what we need to add to both sides. Going to take negative 2, divide it by 2, that's negative 1. And square that. Negative 1 squared is a positive 1. If you're ever not sure, definitely use your calculator. Make sure when you're squaring it that you are using these parentheses. So parenthesis, negative 1, parenthesis, squared in your calculator. Let's add negative 11 and 10. And then on the right, we need to factor. So we are looking for two numbers that multiply to 1 and add to negative 2. Two numbers that multiply to 1 and add to negative 2. Well, that's going to be negative 1 and negative 1. Again, it's always the same number twice, and it's always that number I just highlighted. Okay. So we're going to write that as x minus 1 squared. And our last step is we're going to add the 10 over to the other side. So now I can see the vertex, since we are in vertex form. I get it right here. So it's not a negative 1, it's a positive 1 10. Okay, if you're using the notes from our packet, I wanted to change these last two questions. So why don't you take a moment to change them. Number 3, I want it to be y equals x squared plus 10x plus 4. And in number 4, y equals x squared minus 8x plus 8. If you're following along from the notes on Canvas, I already fixed them for you. So these are the two that we're going to work on. So what I'd like you to do is I'd like you to pause this video right now, try number 3, and then come back. Okay, so let's work on number 3. Hopefully you have your answer already. And if you got stuck in a spot, that's okay. Maybe you'll see how to get unstuck. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to minus the 4. Okay. Then I'm going to figure out what I need to add to both sides. I'm going to take half of the 10, which is 5, and square it. So that means I'm going to add 25 to both sides. Now I need to add negative 4 plus 25, that's 21. And I need to factor x squared plus 10x plus 25. Well, two numbers that multiply to 25 and add to 10 are 5 and 5. Remember, it's this number. Okay, so I can rewrite that as x plus 5 squared. Last step, let's move the 21 over. And there we go. So now we can find the vertex. Remember, it's here and here. It's just opposite sign inside the parentheses. So it's x plus 5 squared. So my vertex is negative 5, negative 21. Okay. I want you to do number 4 on your own. And I also want you to do the exit card that's in your notes on your own. You can skip number 5. Okay, so we're going to skip that. So again, on your own, I want you to do number 4. Remember, we changed it. And I want you to do the exit card. And then submit this page and the exit card as your assignment for today. Okay, bye everybody.